What's up, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back to Yes, Your Educational Story. Tonight we have outstanding guest by the name of Kevin Element Livingston. Shout out to Brownsville, Brooklyn, my zip code that I was raised in, 11212. Shout out to Brownsville, Brooklyn. Now, guys, I've been in education for 25 years. The point of this, Yes, Your Educational Story, is to find out what is that aha moment? What is it that makes students who whose life has happened to, what is it that makes them at a certain point decide that they want to go, that they want to take care of business? As you know, I've been in education for 25 years, 5 years as a teacher, and 20 years as an administrator in the New York City Department of Education. And I chose my journey many moons ago, but I chose it for a reason, because I was one of those kids that came up in a zip code that is supposed to determine your destiny. My zip code, as I said, is 11212. I never forgot it because, it flows through my veins. When you grow up in a Brownsville, Brooklyn, certain environments, it stays with you forever. And it was a wonderful journey. And it made me everything that I am today. And I'm proud to represent Brownsville, Brooklyn. But I'm on a journey. I'm trying to find out, and also I've chosen to work with a certain population of students, ages 17 to 21. Age 17 to 21 because, life has happened. And it's not a cookie cutter system. Not everyone goes through high school in 4 years, and then you graduate, then you go to college, you go for another 4 years and whatever it is. And then, you get the glorious career, and, that's not the way. It's not reality. That's not life. What's up, Cliff? What's up, Maitland? What's up, Titanium? What's up, Badman in the house? Big Lace, good to see you. So I'm on this mission. I'm trying to find out why is it that not only when students came to my environment, but to other environments around the world, where all of a sudden between the age of 17 to 21, or even a little bit older, what is it that ignites, that sparks, that I guess that go button, where I'm now going to I'm not looking back. I'm going to take care of business. What is it? Is it the individual? Is it the teachers? Is it the environment? Is it just you that have decided, like, you know what, enough is enough. I've gotten clarity and I'm ready to run with it. So it's like, what is it? So I'm on this mission of trying to find out what is that aha moment. And we're seeking these beautiful journeys out there for individuals to share with the world, and hopefully it's impactful, that everybody can relate to and understand that, yeah, you know what, life is hard, because ain't nothing gonna hit you harder than life. I can guarantee you that. But it's not as simple as people make it. Go to college. Like, college is not for everyone. Go to school. It's not that simple. We struggle with things. When you come from Brownsville, Brooklyn, you're struggling with just the journey from outside your door to get to the school, right? And those who understand coming up in environments like that, the streets is real. Thus the term, again, street smarts. And I said it before, and I'll always say it. For some of us, education is when you first just step out that door. Your education begins there. I know I have a PhD in the streets, for sure. Because it's just, that's just the way it is when you grow up in certain environments. You have to be street smart, and you have to have the highest quality of education. I do want to say that tonight's guest is an example of someone who has overcome so many obstacles in life, as we all do. And we're honored. I'm honored that he is willing to share his story with us this evening. This young man, I've known him, I don't know how old he was when I first met him on the block when I moved to Queens, right? And I transitioned from hand skills to book skills. But he's going to share his beautiful story, and I am beyond proud of him and his accomplishments and where he's at now. His name is Mr. Kevin Livingston. Kevin Element Livingston, and he runs a company by the name of 100 Suits. Kevin, if you're there, can you jump on? I'm just gonna wait for Mr. Livingston to jump on, and then we will begin. Shout out to Papers. What's going on? Good to see you, Papers. Papers. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we should have Mr. Livingston popping in right
What's going on,
now.
brother?
How are you, my brother? How are you? So good to see you.
Salute. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. I see you out there with Mr. Colin Kaepernick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The
The Muhammad Ali of our time. Shout out to him. Shout out to Cap.
Very true.
So, Mr. Livingston, thank you for coming on.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. My pleasure to support.
Okay, thank you. So, let's begin. I don't know where you want to start, but let's start at the beginning.
All right, Big Wallace, what up, champion? My man Wallace, 132 in the house. 131.
Oh, by the way, can you please, before you begin, shout out your zip code?
Oh, 11420, most definitely. That's the only zip code. Is there any other?
Okay.
What's going on, Annalie? I see you popping on too. Shout out. Thank you so much for having me. And it's always a pleasure to share stories. Wherever you want me to start, we can go from there.
Well, let's start at the beginning let's start at school. Let's start with high school, right? Let's start with high school because that's when the real journey really began for you, right? So let's talk about from ninth grade, right?
Yep. So, again, it's a long lineage that I have with you, going back to literally 5 years old, being best friends with your brother, Junior, and my man Wallace on here. So Wallace can attest to this. And especially what I'm about to get, I'm glad you're on, Wallace, because you can attest to what I'm about to get into. So my ninth grade in high school, I barely got out of 202 by the skin of my teeth. I actually got suspended on the last day of school.
Is that middle school? You talking about middle school 202?
Yeah.
Okay.
I literally just got out. I literally got suspended on the last day of school.
Wow.
And so I went to John Adams. I went there for 1 year. And my grades were too low, and so they withdrew me and kicked me out and threw me to a GED school. And so I never forget, before I went into GED school, I never forget the day that I actually was kicked out.
Yeah.
I was walking down 130th, heading to the block, and I had a New York Times paper in my hand, and I was reading the Wall Street Journal, and they had stockbroker trainee positions open, and I went ahead and I applied for the job, and I became a stockbroker trainee, which I started working on Wall Street selling stocks at that time.
How old were you at that time?
17.
17. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep. And it was rough. I mean, high school I was always an impromptu speaker, right? Like I could always speak, but you put me in front of books, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when it came to my process in John Adams, it just wasn't as easy for me to sit there and listen to the teacher. I always thought that I got the gift of gab. I can get my way around it.
Yeah.
Boy, later on in life did I prove that to be wrong. So then I started working in Wall Street.
Okay. So how did that turn out? How did Wall Street work out for you at the age of 17?
Yeah, right. So I started selling. I started promoting stocks for. And Wallace will remember this from my Wall Street days, promoting stocks and selling them and things of that nature. And so I did that for about 2 years. I at 18 years old, I sat for my Series 7.
Wow.
I never forget. Yep.
Yeah.
And I failed by 7 points.
Okay.
And so I left there and then went into GED school.
Okay. So, all right. So you were on Wall Street. You got in your mind. I'm going to make a lot of money. Forget about school. I don't need the diploma. But it didn't work out. Yeah. And then you went to get your GED.
Yes.
And did you get it?
So I did get my GED. I failed 3. So a lot of people don't know that I sat for my GED 2 prior times, and not that it was too hard. I walked out on it. I gave up. Like literally. That because I don't know how it is now, but in the GED you had to take like 4 different parts on 4 different days or whatever have you. I literally got up and walked out of Jamaica High School 2 different times. The last time I took it and passed.
And shout out to the GED, because
Mm-hmm.
again, it's not people make it seem like it's a cookie cutter system. It's not. Life is not a cookie cutter system. There are obstacles that you're going to overcome. And shout out to the GED, because and people, don't, I don't know why people don't understand this, but it is the equivalent of a high school diploma.
It really is.
Okay?
Yeah.
It is equivalent, and it does the same thing as a high school diploma. So, and the GED has carried and made a lot of people very successful. And, you being one of them, of course. So, all right. So what happens after there? What's the journey like from there?
So after I got my GED, I went ahead. I was working in restaurants. So I worked in restaurants for about 8 years, being a waiter, whatever have you. Kind of condensing the story a little bit in regards to my restaurant story.
Okay.
But one thing I did learn about restaurants is I learned, again, I had the gift of gab. So I actually learned how to hustle. Like I was, go and talk to different personalities, whatever have you.
Yeah.
But again, you get to the point where you're not able to really, and one of my aha moments is that I can't formulate a letter. Well, not anymore, but at one point in time, the grammar is on the letter and the right pronunciation. I was horrible with that. Okay. Absolutely horrible with that. And I used to actually always get the server next to me to write a letter for. I'd never forget it. And so I applied for a branch manager's position in a bank.
Okay.
And they was like, what the hell is wrong with you? I was like, well, I want to try. So again, me being ambitious, I applied for a branch manager's bank position and in a bank. And I didn't get hired for that position, but I got hired for a customer service rep.
All right. So you're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You're still trying to figure out, you want to be successful, you want to make money, but you went from the GED, right? You went to the restaurant for a couple of years, and now it's like, now you're like, okay, exposure is happening, right?
Let me backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So please pardon me, I'm still lagging. I took my second shot of Moderna, so I'm still like a little slow.
Well, we hope you're okay. Congratulations.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Thank God. Yes, thank God. Get your shot, y'all. Get your shot. I did go to Nassau Community College for 1 year.
Okay.
And right after I left Wall Street, so I got my GED. I was working in restaurants. And I went to Nassau for 1 year. After I left Nassau for 1 year, I went to Queensboro, but then I got kicked out because my grades are too low. I never forget, the counselor came in and said, hey, we're going to have to withdraw you from this course because you have your grades are X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. What? And then I left. Yep.
What? What's up, Cousin Cooper?
Yep.
What did they? All right. So, man, okay. So this is the interesting journey here you're on.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So fast forward in time. So I worked in restaurants. I made a lot of money in restaurants, because a lot of people don't know service can make a ton of money. As long as you take care of your customer, you make good money there. Yeah. And so I went ahead and I left there and I worked at the bank as a customer service rep for 10 years. Yeah. And I never, one of my aha moments was, I never forget, I brought a very large multi-million-dollar relationship to the bank. Okay. And I never forget, they want to exclude me out the high-level meetings. Take your $40,000 a year and be happy. Sit in your little corner, right?
After you brought a multi-million-dollar deal in.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I never forget looking at the check that they gave me, right? Now, again, this is a $15 million deal, and my net on my check that came in was $887. And I never forget, I said, never again.
Something's wrong.
Never again.
Something's wrong.
Never again, more. Never again. And so I went ahead. I already had the premise for my company because a lot of people don't know, when I was starting 100 Suits, I would ask random customers who would come into the ATM lobby, hey, again, this goes back to me taking a shortcut from leaving school. Because there was one particular lady, a light-skinned sister, who I asked to come, can you please help me draft this here, my first letter of intent of what I wanted to do? And she would literally write the thing over while she was at the ATM and then come back and bring it to my table. There were a lot of customers at the Jamaica branch for Carver Bank who helped me when I was getting my feet started with 100 Suits. I would never forget them. So
shout out to Carver Bank, which is a black-owned bank, right?
Not really, but
well, that's a story for another, because that's what they sell.
Yeah, no. We have,
Oh man,
no, but
ouch.
we'll talk about that later. But
Okay, all right, we'll talk about that later.
but not even the bank. I want to shout out the customers who believed in my vision. I've gotten written up when I was starting my company for holding the suits in the lobby. I gotten all kind of warnings, everything else because what I was doing. But I did not let nobody. Nicole, that's my homegirl from Carver Bank. What up, baby? Shout out, that's my people right, Carver Bank days. She was definitely one of the people who helped me out during that time.
Right.
You know, I mean, literally, I had so many people in the bank, like in positions. I had the HR director looking out for me with my own logo. Like, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
When you have people believe in you, you'd be surprised who will help you. You
So
know
what
what
was
I'm
this
saying?
vision, Kevin? What was this vision about
Right.
100 suits? Like where did that it seems like that was formulated like really at an early stage. But
Yeah.
but why suits? And can you talk a little bit about like what the company actually does?
Right. Thank you. So you know, back in my Wall Street days, and again, Wiles will attest to this. I always wore a suit. There was one particular suit that I wore.
That's a
My father
fact.
bought me. It was a red suit, red
Yeah.
blazer, and you know, you couldn't tell me. You could. I thought I was Marcus Graham and Boomerang. You couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me nothing. But I knew how a suit would make me feel, and so I got tired of the way people would look at the young men on the corner of Parsons and Jamaica Avenue,
Okay.
how they would walk around them versus engage them. I got tired of that,
Mm.
and so when I first started, a mayoral hopeful who now is kind of you know, he's wrapped in scandal right now. Well, not right now, but he was Anthony Weiner. I'm not sure if you're familiar with who he
Oh
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of New York City should be familiar with the city
Sean, what
guy.
up, champion? It's another Carver Bank family. Sean, what up, champion? Thank you, brother. Thank you. Um, yeah. So Anthony Weiner came, and he was in a high. He was like in the top lead in the mayoral race. He came to the branch and brought all his suits, and so that got me a lot of traction.
Okay.
Cheryl Wills, my sister, God bless her. She did some coverage on me, and then my brother Ruben Wills, who's council member, helped me with my first logo, and we were just pumping out suits. You know, so I was collecting suits,
Mhm.
you know, in the branch. And if you Google 100 suits from 100 men, you will still see the very first pop up back in 2011 that I did in front of Popeyes on Parsons Jamaica Avenue. You will
Okay.
still see it right there. I brought a suit rack, literally the one you see in a department store.
Uh-huh.
I put suits on it. I went in front of Popeyes and started giving it out.
And this is while you're at Carver Bank.
This is why I was at Carbon.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you went from the GED,
Mm-hmm.
right, to the restaurant. I mean, to Nassau Community College, then
Mm-hmm.
to the restaurants, then to the bank, and that's when you began to I guess make 100 suits present in the community, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And is that the Carver Bank that was on Jamaica Avenue?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So that's okay, Jamaica Queens.
Mm-hmm.
So take us through that. What happens next?
So at that time, a brother from a program that was across the park a lot from me,
Yeah.
knew what I was doing, and he said, Kevin, we want to talk to you. Funny how God works. It's when you on the track of your path, you'd be surprised who He puts in your way. And so I was sitting at my desk, and I went across the parkway. I had a meeting with them. They gave me my first office space.
Mm-hmm.
I swear it was about the size of your closet,
Yeah.
with the shoes in there. Just imagine.
Yeah.
It was really small, but it was my first office space. So for 6 months into 2012, when I left the bank, I was literally working at Carver and then leaving at my lunch break and running over to the office, working there for an hour, and then coming back.
Yeah.
And then I had got an intern from Fort who just came home from jail. So I didn't have enough money, so we were able to get an intern. So he covered the office. And I would always run back and forth between my office and there. You know, it's funny how God worked, because to this day, not only are we at the same location, but we went and purchased the whole other side of the office. So, you know,
Wow.
it's funny how God is.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
right?
a beautiful accomplishment from
Yeah.
from a GED to that. You
Yep.
want to talk a little bit about the struggle of like, you
Mhm.
know, what was going on during the daytime with you, and
Mhm.
then what would happen at night?
Right on, right on, right on. So, in the midst of that,
Hmm.
and like I was explaining to you the other day,
Yeah.
I had my trials, right? And I'll
Yeah.
get into that part. We'll fast forward to the year of 2016 in a second. I just want to make sure you guys understand the reason how I left the bank, because I had got, again, aha moment for
Uh-huh.
me was, is if I don't do this now, then when,
Yeah.
right? I was making $40,000 a year,
Hmm.
42, excuse me. I got offered a contract, $5,000 payable over 8 months,
Hmm.
and I was going to collect unemployment. So I weighed my options. I took the leap.
Okay.
When I took my leap, I fell on my face. Two reasons. It goes back to taking shortcuts, because during the contract times, I did not know how to properly read these contracts. I did not know how to rebut them to change up some of the terminology, because some of the contracts that I had, I mean, they were literally ripping me off. Like the contract I was supposed to have, I was supposed to get $20, they give me five.
Hmm.
Shortcut. So
What happened as a result of that shortcut?
I wound up losing the contract. Wound up losing the contract. Um, so fast forward in time, we got back on our feet. We met with our partners, FedCap We Care, which is
Hmm.
our amazing partners. We opened our first office in Manhattan, which is in Soho, and then we opened up another one in the Bronx. And we
Okay.
did that really, really well. That was in 2015. Here's how God worked. I'm a firm believer that if you don't dot your I's and cross your T's, no matter how good your intention is, it can
Hmm.
all be taken away in a blink of an eye. In 2015, I had an office in. Hey, what up, champion? In 2015, I had an office in the Bronx
Yeah.
and downtown Manhattan. FedCat gave me $40,000 to run that office. By from August to, man, I'm about to tell you guys something you never knew. From August to June, I'm sorry, May, I ran out of money. We were doing the work.
Yes.
I ran out of money. At that time in May, I was able to, like, I was struggling to get things together.
Hmm.
I had a brand new baby,
Yes.
my baby girl. I was married, and my dad had took a spill. His health took for a turn for the worse. I started riding taxi. A lot of people don't know I used to drive a dollar cab up and down Church Avenue
Yeah.
at certain times of the night to get pamper money when I was living in East Flatbush. Um, so in July of that year, the CEO of the company, which I thought I was going to get refunded, said,
Yeah.
"Kevin, we respect you, but we're not going to refund you because you were not X, Y, and Z. You were not X, Y, and Z. You were not X, Y, and Z," and it crushed me like hell.
Yeah.
The same month of July, my marriage ended. I had no place to go. I was too prideful to tell people what I was going through. Now, it was a choice, homelessness. Because if I would have picked up the phone, I'd have been somewhere in 30 minutes. But I was too prideful to tell people, because I mean, I had this
Yeah.
company and whatever have you.
Yeah.
There is as a matter of fact, there's a story. I led a march for 700 people down Jamaica Avenue, July 2nd, 2016. It was covered in all over the
Hmm.
news. A lot of people don't know that I had no place to go to that night. And I often look at that photo and remember the stress that I was going on in my head, not knowing where I was going to go home that night. For the first couple of weeks of July, I slept in my truck. And then I was able to, you know, clean some room out of my truck. And then I went and stayed in my truck for until like the middle of August. I stayed in JFK parking lot. My aha moment came when I was sitting in my car and I came up with what is now known as 100 Suits Academy, which is our cornerstone right now, which is ran in Rikers Island, ACS, Department of Education, Crisis Management System. That program that I wrote in my car, out of pure desperation. I remember calling my sister and trying to go over it with her. She didn't know what I was going through.
Yeah.
She was pissed with me. But that is what happened with me at that point.
Wow. That is such a, because I didn't even know that, right? And that is just such a tough thing to go through. But you stayed the course. Mm-hmm. You stayed the course because, you know, something inside of you, you know, just said, keep going, don't stop, right? Believe in yourself, you know. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's just so interesting that, you know, that you bring that up, because you see people every day and everything looks shiny. It's like the Instagram thing, right? And the Facebook, people put their best foot forward, but you don't know what's really going on in people's lives. And anybody who's going through stuff like that, you need to understand, when you hear Kevin Livingston speak like this from the heart, it should impact you in a way to understand that, you know, it's a journey and you got to trust the journey. You can't just give up. You must trust the journey. So I want to say from my heart, you know, thank you for sharing that very, very deep story. You know, thank you. You know, because that's not something that, you know, most people would share. You know, and I'm just thanking you for sharing it for so many others that are going through something similar. For people who are in shelters right now, or homeless, you know, understand that, you know, if you have a vision, stay the course and trust the journey. Okay. I do want to talk a little bit about how successful you are now. The fact that you were on the Steve Harvey show. What was that like?
That was amazing. That was amazing. You know, his team called us, and they wanted me to come. They saw me when I was in Camden, New Jersey. We had opened up an office in Camden, and they came out and they filmed out there, and then they flew us out to LA.
That's beautiful.
Tyler, what up, champion?
You know, and now correct me if I'm wrong, but if a young man, and you work a lot with young men that are in Rikers Island, so as the narrative goes, most of our young men come out of prison and they are not able to find jobs, much less have a suit or a shirt or a tie. You know, and I know in my experience with Department of Education, most of the young men that I dealt with, unfortunately, the first time that they even wear a shirt and tie is when I asked them to wear it for my program. You know, so coming out of prison, you know, you provide all these young men with free suits, free shirts, free ties, and also a haircut, right? Because I see, you know, I follow you, and it's just beautiful things that you're doing. So what does that look like? Can you give us the journey of one of the young men that came out recently that needed your assistance?
Absolutely. I mean,
or how people can reach out to you if they have someone who is incarcerated or in that situation and needs a suit and tie.
Absolutely. You can reach out to us. I'll make this quick so you guys can understand the full alignment of what we do. So you can reach out to us on Instagram, 100 Suits, 100suits.org. My office number is 646-618-9797. So we have two offices. We have one in downtown Brooklyn, one in Jamaica, which is the boutique model. We also run program inside of Rikers Island Correctional Facility where we are there, where we work with young men inside the facility. We also run programming inside of ACS Children's Center. As a matter of fact, I had a young man who, you know, was in the facility last week, and, you know, we hired him right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm real big advocate on creating our own jobs. We run a delivery program. We also do work inside of some of the New York City crisis management systems. We were about to start that. And, you know, we're ready to work. Thank you so much, J-Star. Thank you.
DJ Star, thank you for putting that out there. Is that so? Can you expound on the academy and what it does? The 100 Suits Academy.
Absolutely. So we touch on everything from entrepreneurship, brand development, Bitcoin, stocks, you know, real estate. You know, we bring in guest speakers. I've brought Colin Kaepernick to Rikers Island. I brought Steve Francis, the basketball player, to Rikers Island.
Okay.
I brought lawyers to Rikers Island. You know, like we bring guests everywhere.
Thank you. So does this academy teach people that maybe you shouldn't buy those $600-700 pair of Balenciagos, and maybe you should invest in Bitcoin or maybe a startup business?
Absolutely. I actually have my young men right now working on a program where when's the next sneaker coming out, I need for us, we're gonna grant them the money for the sneakers, but the money for the sneakers won't be for the sneaker, it'll be for the company. So we told we're gonna buy them 5 sneakers, but it won't be 5 sneakers, it'll be 5 stocks of the sneaker company.
Wow. Changing the narrative, right? The ripple effect. Listen, this is beautiful. This is absolutely wonderful. I'm glad you're out there doing God's work and service in the community. And shout out to Richmond Hill, where we both came up. After I left Brownsville, Brooklyn, Richmond Hill was where I met Kev. Yeah. And I'm just I'm just beyond proud of you. Anything you want to plug before we go?
Hey man, just plug, man. Listen, shout out to your family, bro. Like the Smallhorne family is a part of me growing up. You know what I mean? So shout out to your whole family, and shout out to everybody who showed up online. I saw Tina and Devon, who was the HR manager at Carver Bank, and my boy Wallace, and just everybody, man. You know, just shout out to everybody from 131. You know,
shout out to Antoinette.
Thank you, Antoinette.
Shout out to Antoinette. My little sis doing big things. Shout out to her.
Yes, she is.
But listen, we thank you so much for coming on and sharing your impactful story. Hopefully it impacts someone out there and they understand that, you know, your zip code doesn't have to determine your destiny.
Thank you.
And your destination and your present situation should never determine your destination. Right? And trust the journey. The journey is real, man. You know, the struggle is real, and you gotta trust it. You know, so Kev, I just want to say thank you once again. And let me just hit you with the quote. So the quote, we like to leave with a quote, of course. The quote for this week is, service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth, which is by, of course, none other than Muhammad Ali. Okay? Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Okay? Shout out to Muhammad Ali and his family. And Colin Kaepernick, thank you. And Kev, thank you so much. And as we leave, everyone has a story to tell. But what's your educational story? Thank you. And shout out to 100 Suits and all the magnificent things you're doing in the community. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you, my brother. Much love. You know, I love you, man. You keep it up, all right? And hopefully one day, we will be saying Kevin Livingston for mayor.
No.
I had to put it out there. I had to put it out there early, brother. Early. All right. Take care.